CCTV situation set up. He was watching for when the officers got there.
Was
allegedly
initiated so that the officers could make entry into the room.
Okay, so what we may have missed, because he just said it quick, but they called actual SWAT to come do the entry. So they took those officers out of the fight basically, and they, the time was on their side at that point, I think. So
Once entry was made, the suspect was discovered dead inside the room. No one else was inside the room.
Look at that. So that is DeCristofalo's vest. You can see it's a little bit heavier than a normal outer vest, right? So he's a tactical team guy. It even says SWAT on there. But if you look in the red circle, right where his flashlight is, he took at least one, it looks like 2 rounds.
Officer DeCristofalo was transported to the hospital where he was treated and released. You are looking at a picture of the bullet from the suspect lodged in his vest. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is cooperating with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, who will lead the investigation into the officer-involved shooting.
So he would have taken a round right to the gut. It would have been, if you look at that vest again, and I should have just saved a still of it, but his badge, like you'll see his actual badge, it's like a Velcro patch. Then just below it and to the right is his where his flashlight is, and just to the left side of that is where the rounds are lodged. So depending on the trajectory of the round, it could have gone up and into his heart. It was definitely hitting on the left side. So the guy was firing center mass, and he was less than 3 yards away from him. So thank God this didn't turn out very nasty for the police. Suspect, kind of sealed his own fate, I think. But
yeah, it's hard to cry for him.
Yeah.
We talk about mental health problems. For all we know, that drugs were a part of it. It could have been 100 other things. But ultimately, we're glad that our officers, who have to respond to the problems that other people start, that they weren't injured or killed, I should say, in this incident. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the female was never there. Is that correct?
Right. The room was empty.
So all of this was, again, out of his imagination. It reminds me of that call. Do you remember the guy that we had barricaded inside the van at Home Depot? And he said that there was a girl with him or something. There was some kind of completely made up situation in his own mind.
Yes.
Police had to respond to him. And
his
daughter.
That
his daughter was missing or abducted. Right. And that, that whole thing was fabricated or whatever in order to draw the police into a confrontation. He gets out of the car or takes the gun out of his waistband or wherever it was. Very similar situation, only this is potentially more dangerous just with the orientation of the hallways. Of course, the Home Depot, you're out there in public, and then everybody's in danger out there. So a strange phenomenon. I'm not sure why people are dialing 911 and begging for this confrontation. It doesn't seem like it's by cop. Usually those people are a little bit more direct about it or transparent about it, or you could figure something else out. But who knows? I mean, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation for a cop, Drew.
Yeah, that kind of entered my mind too. Is this a cop? I mean, he answered the door with the phone in one hand and a gun in the other. I tend to think if this were a cop, he wouldn't have the phone in his hand.
No, I also don't think he would have fired multiple rounds out through. I think he was seriously trying to kill cops. A lot of by cops, they're not actually, they're bereft of hope. They just want to die. They don't have the courage or the will or whatever it takes to do it to themselves. Or they have a vision of how it should happen, but it's not actually about harming the cops. This guy clearly did want to harm them.
I have a show planned in the hip pocket that illustrates that perfectly. It wasn't. He kept saying that he was armed, but he was not armed.
Subject precipitated is something that's massively on the rise, and it's something hostage negotiators are having to learn how to deal with differently. And if this was one of those, it just adds a tally of cases like that. But this was an interesting one. I'm glad that all the cops are okay, though.
Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed that clip, and if you did, leave us a comment, and if you didn't, leave us 2 comments. Either way, you can go to our YouTube page at the Comm Center and see the full video. I hope you go there. I hope you become a member. If you want to follow along with everything we do, go to our website, which is thecommcenter.com.